Okay, let's jump into this. I have had this idea basically since this season started, where I want to, now that we can actually view other people's qualifying laps, I want to actually analyze my qualifying lap versus the guy who put it on pole in this race, Mark Long, who put in a 2:09.753 in this race, who had a humongous lap to put it on pole by this much. So I put in a 2:11.443. Granted, not my strongest qualifying performance, but I do want to see the big difference between my lap and Mark Long's lap. I believe we should be able to come in here and go, Mark Long, what number are you for? Mark Long. So yes, we can in fact watch his qualifying lap. So I want to start by watching the whole of my lap. So I think this is going to be a very good series for me because it actually forced me to analyze my own laps and then also get an opportunity to see what I could have done better. And I think straight ahead, turn one, I'm already losing a lot of time. I think I'm braking very safely, very early. And then here as well, actually I did a pretty decent job. I got pretty bad at picking a reference marker going up Eau Rouge and Raidillon to kind of get that corner where I wanted to. I actually took it pretty okay there from how I would like to do it. It's actually gotten a lot better. I also think there's so much time in this corner. I play it very safe through here, and I think there's just like tenths around, right? But now when we're talking about like a 2:09, that's a whole other problem. That's a whole other thing. Because it's just there's so much time out there, and I don't know if it's a car confidence thing. I don't know if it's a skill thing, which they kind of go hand in hand to a certain degree. But I threw poo on. I know there's a lot of time. I stay off the gas a lot to not push too wide. But you can tell as on the exit that I'm just not up to speed. I don't know if it's setup problems. This is in the open series, so it could be setup tweaks problem. I'm running basically the default Spa setup, so it obviously could have a lot to do with setup, but I know I left a lot of time in this one, and I'm curious to see from like a lines perspective and like a braking reference perspective from my lap, which was decent at a 2:11 and change versus a 2:09. And I'll also say that Mark in this one was running, he was running in the 2:08s in the race. So there's definitely a lot of time left in here. I also brake very early for this corner as well. I think it's a double-edged sword if I try and carry too much speed and also just don't get the rotation. But there we go. That's my 2:11.443. And I think the biggest points of time loss are turn one, the end of the Camel Straight. I think the long downhill right-hander leading to No Name Corner is also a big one, and then No Name Corner itself. So I think it's turn one. It's a lot of the first sector, like the first half of the lap. I think in the second half of the lap, it was decent. There's little tweaks and lines that I could make different, but I think we actually are okay. I definitely got a lot of understeer through that lap, which I couldn't tell if it's a carrying too much speed problem or too much wheel angle is definitely a thing. I think I'm definitely still overturning the wheel and just general skill issue. So let's go ahead, let's pull up Mark's lap and then we'll go through it and we'll try and analyze the big differences. All right. Let's go ahead, let's check out and see what we got here for Mark. First thing I want to take a look at is interesting. Okay, hold on. We're gonna take Mark's a little slower here. Interesting. Okay. Good. Okay, we're good. Just listening, it sounds like it doesn't sound like particularly hard braking, and he definitely started slowing down much later than me. think he's also revving it out a little bit more than me as well. Very smooth. Interesting. He also... Yeah, that's a lift, then a break through 1. And then Up Eau Rouge, he did not take quite as of a aggressive line over the curb as well. Interesting. He's off the gas through there. Interesting. He is off the gas through a lot of that based on the sound in my ear. It sounds like he's off the gas a lot. So it seems like he's feathering the throttle a lot. He's coasting a lot. And so what he's doing is he's able to keep his minimum speed up. But it's weird to say I feel like he's leaving time on the table. Now, I know my lap, I pushed through there as quick as possible, which might have been a case of overheating, maybe just overworking the tires, getting them out of their operating window, putting a little too much energy through there. Instead, should just be coasting. Oh, this is... I already can tell that this is a good decision. But yeah, he was maybe half throttle, like at most, through that whole section. It was a lot of coasting and just working on keeping his minimum speed up. Fascinating. All right, I'm already glad I'm doing this. Okay. Okay, he does go down to second. Okay. This was another one. Through the downhill right-hander. One, the angle of braking is more towards the middle. I kind of brake out here and then kind of turn in to try and take a really late apex. But it looks like you kind of aim, kind of miss the first bit, but then kind of hug in tight. Sounds like he was on the gas a little bit more there. And it's just a lot of light throttle. It's a lot of light throttle and maybe like a half a gear up from wherever I'm at. So fascinating. Okay, he also goes down to third here. He does go up to fifth. Fourth gear there. This is blowing my mind. All right, let's watch him do the final hard braking zone. He runs it wide. He brakes very late. Second gear. Wow, okay. Wow. And that's a 209.753. Wow. He's engine braking a lot and just downshifting, not even really using the brakes. That is so fascinating to me, right? In my lap, I tried to be on the gas basically as much as I thought I could without losing the car. I think that also really helped him because I do think that he was pushing a lot more at the end of the lap rather than at the beginning. It seems like he took it very easy on the tires in the car in the first half of the lap. And then in the second half of the lap, which requires a lot of tire, that's when he really went for it. Like after No Name Corner, he started the downhill right-handers. I think when he really started to push it a little bit, while still just being smooth. And then coming out of one is when he really started to lean on the tire a lot more. And that's just wow.